Molokai is just really considered in the paddleboard world the ultimate test. You know, no matter how hard I train or how fit I am, there's always potential for the gear to fail. For me, the ocean is my escape, under, on, in, wherever. My weekly mileage is between 20 and 30 miles. I'll do 2 sprint days and 2 distance days a week, and then a lot of stretching and stuff in between to balance. The imbalance in my musculature takes constant maintenance, so there's a mixed bag of training involved. I was working on the Bering Sea as an able-bodied seaman and deckhand. I had just gone 3 days with very little sleep, and we were in really rough seas considering it was summertime, and it was just a matter of the boat getting knocked by a wave, knocking us off on an odd list, and I happened to be near an exposed drive shaft that was running a piece of processing equipment, and I just literally fell into it, hit my elbow, it sucked me in and wrapped me around the shaft. It happened in a split second, and the damage was pretty extensive. I bled out, multiple fractures, shoulder subluxation, and intense trauma to my body. I'm happiest in the water, especially since my injury. I can get out there alone, no one's asking me questions. That's one of the best things about paddleboarding. I can go out 3 or 4 miles offshore, and if I get in the right rhythm, I kind of feel like I have 2 arms. Getting in the first time to surf with the first rudimentary paddle arm I made, I couldn't even paddle. It actually turned out to be big nor'easter storm in Kennebunk Beach in Maine. I went out with one of my buddies back then, first paddle ever, and I couldn't even paddle out. I swam out. I dragged my board and side stroke through double overhead beach break just to get out to the lineup, and it was just one step at a time from there. But every time I went out, I'd realize what I needed to apply to a new design. Obviously, I face a lot of challenges in that most of my power is coming from one side. I'd say, and the big limiting factor for me now is actually having a device. I only have 4.5 inches left of revised limb. And so how do we anchor a device to actually enables me to generate power with a paddle? You know, a lot of people think, oh, just put a big long paddle on there and you're going to be stronger than an arm. This injury's forced me to have to develop all these different products, if you will, or tools, just to enable me to not compete, but just, you know, take part in the sports I like to do: mountain biking, skiing, and surfing and paddling, certainly. And I'm never going to be world champion. I'm never going to beat the world champion, obviously, but I just want to be able to respectively compete and finish in the top 5% of every race I do, and I'll be happy with that. You know, will I win my class in some races? Yes. Against the best in the world in my class? Probably not, but there are, you know, there'll be some battles that I'll come out on top. The biggest challenge for me in Molokai is going to be the equipment. That's the X factor constantly. I'm utilizing a silicone glue that they use, it's the top glue they use in Hollywood for decorative prosthetics, and it's a pretty invasive thing that's supposed to hold, but you know, I'm taking it to the extremes in the water and the sweat and the sun and the constant motion. So the big X factor for me is that glue going to hold for the whole race under those conditions? If I'm getting soaked, and I'm definitely going to, you know, spill a few times. So crossing our fingers. But my biggest fear is equipment malfunction. It's out of my hands.
A surface high bar northeast of the Hawaiian Islands will strengthen, resulting in breezy trade winds in waters within 40 nautical miles, including the channels. Small craft advisory through Monday afternoon from Maalaea Bay.
There was a point in my life where I didn't think I'd ever surf again, and now I'm at least theoretically capable of paddling 32 miles across an ocean channel. It's me in the ocean. I'm not looking at the other competitors today, it's me and the Molokai Channel.
So at about mile 15 of this 32-mile race, the arm failed, and essentially I had to one-arm it. You know, I had about 15% of the prosthetic's normal function to paddle with on the right-hand side of my injured side, and just had to dig deep and block it out of my mind after a few cuss words. And I got that out of my system. It just bared down. My speed was cut down by about 35%. I was no longer able to dig in at that first gear level to catch the runners. So I basically paddled one stroke at a time with very little assistance from the ocean to the finish line, which took a lot.
Can I break a man with boots of stone? Oh, what's turn is turning now. It's really quite a shame to go on and leave me. I expected to say so.
Okay, 8, move 9 right now. Jeff Finhall. That's just inspirational, ladies and gentlemen. You can do it, brother.
The end of the race was just overwhelming. I mean, I was brought to tears, partly because of fatigue, but just completely humbled to be not necessarily standing shoulder to shoulder with my idols, but at least on the same playing field.
Take care of yourself, but you can't help the ones that won't help themselves. You never can change the hand you dealt. You pick up the pieces.